Sangli is an important city in the state of Maharashtra. This road, bustling today with tiny shops, takes us to the historical princely court of Sangli. The main entrance, though dilapidated, reminds us of the might and prosperity of the historical Maharashtra. Once, these bastion towers stood as lofty and robust obstacles for the enemies of Maratha Empire. But one day, through such mighty gates and from under the strict watch of bastions, the British entered Maharashtra. Gradually, their colonies took root. The Darbar, or the royal court of Sangli, experienced many different forms and colors of the British politics. Today, this narrow lane behind the Darbar leads us to that colorful bygone era of colonial India. Nineteenth and 20th centuries were turbulent times for Indians who were in arguments with the British. This turbulence percolated age-old fabric of Indian lives, traditions, tastes, and caused a new blend of art culture. The museum at Sangli in Maharashtra is an exuberant display of artifacts symbolizing the culmination of Eastern and Western incarnations of visual arts. The Western viewpoint of art found way to India through traveling Western artists. This is an oil portrait of Peshwa Savai Madhavrao, painted by Scottish artist James Wales. Wales came to India in 1791 and felt it important to paint the portraits of Maratha aristocrats. Wales met them in the Pune office of Maratha Empire and painted realistic oil portraits of some of them. Another aristocrat that Wales portrayed was Balaji Janardhan Bhanu, alias Nana Phadnavis. These paintings made an impact on Indian royalties and impressed them. Indians sensed the Western style of rendering human likeness, the scale of their paintings, the medium and the techniques they deploy, and also realized the technical limitations of traditional miniature paintings. This realization about Western art and methods thoroughly spurred in the trade of Western artifacts. In the 19th century, Europeans had founded potteries, manufacturing decorative ceramic vases and pots. Special amongst them were the ceramic maiolikas decorated with human figures in Greco-Roman style. Indians started importing these artifacts and decorative works. Some flower pots and vases of Chinese and Japanese style are also seen in this section of the museum. Indians contemplated upon the need for manufacturing artifacts by utilizing Western industrial methods, and that led to the foundation of Sir J.J. School of Arts in 1857. This sought the attention of art aspirants to get educated in visual arts through Western approach. British and Indian aristocrats were expecting such aspirants and their attention. These are the plaster of Paris copies of some Greco-Roman sculptures. Some Indian traders invested in these copies, manufactured in 19th century by Domenico Bruciani and Company of England. To excel in the art and find a place in the art market, Indian students started studying and copying such sculptures keenly. But these students were also aware of the socio-political movements of the time and the traditional Indian arts. Indian students endeavored to express this awareness in their artworks. This endeavor was astute, and it got recognition in 1902. A statue sculpted by Ganpatrao Mhatre, a student of Sir J.J. School of Arts, was awarded a gold medal by Lord Curzon. This is an astonishingly beautiful sculpture by Mr. Mhatre that shows his astounding abilities of creating a perfect blend of Indian and Western essence of figurative sculptural depiction. In this sculpture, Mhatre has imagined Parvati in the guise of Shabri. Since then, Ganpatrao Mhatre has remained as a highly respected artist in the field of sculpture, conferred with the title Rao Bahadur by the British in 1929. Another artist who achieved the excellence as outstanding as Mr. Mhatre was Mahadev Vishwanath Dhurandhar. After graduating from J.J. School of Arts, Dhurandhar explored many themes during 1896 and 1944. This painting, titled The Setting of a Maharashtrian Wedding by Dhurandhar, was honored with gold medal by the British. British also honored Mahadev Dhurandhar with the title Rao Bahadur. On the one hand, the British were honoring Indians, and on the other hand, the fight of Indians against the British rule was intensifying. Indian aristocrats felt it important to depict the Indian history that will inspire Indians to fight against the British. As a result of this, Rao Bahadur Dhurandhar received assignments for rendering the events from the life of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Previously, Indians had seen their history rendered in beautiful miniature paintings. But it was Dhurandhar who astonished the world by illuminating Indian history in the Western taste and style. While Rao Bahadur Dhurandhar was rendering the life of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, another Indo-German artist, Archibald Hermann Mueller, was enchanted by Indian epics. Mueller's paintings on Indian epics in Sangli Museum is a hoard of precious masterworks. Mueller's depictions of Indian epics feel like a documentation of traditional opulence of Indians. Mueller's rendering of Indian ornamentation and jewelry is neat and attractive, so much so that it evokes a sense of longing in the beholder. After a long struggle against British Empire, India emerged as an independent country in 1947. Independent India saw the rise of new museums to protect and proudly exhibit the trove of former princely states of India. The artifacts in this museum of Sangli belong to one of the princely states of Patwardhans. Seth Purushottam Mavji, a merchant from Mumbai, contributed this museum with his collection, and in 1954, the then Vice President of India, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, inaugurated this museum and dedicated it to the nation. The history of Sangli Museum and its collection is a long affair of nearly 2 centuries. Artists, thinkers, patrons, and art connoisseurs have been the important part of this affair. The experience of a visit to this museum revolves around the axis of colonial times. The statue of Queen Victoria, sitting in the lobby of the museum and sculpted by Rao Bahadur Ganpatrao Mhatre, enchants visitors with a dazzling flair of Indian artists and their glories of the colonial times.